Holy moly. His main, what I got out of it, two main arguments is that there's such a thing as racecraft, which is the illusion of race. His point, which is a very good point, is that black people and white people are absolutely not different, or people of any color, and that white people, people who have what we consider traditionally to be white skin, have perpetuated the myth of race in order to remain the dominant part of society, the fascist majoritarian pigs that we are. And his point is that if you are white and living in privilege, you are living on the blood and bones and corpses of the black American body. And that even now, like, starting with slavery, but then, like, now would be more about the incarceration of African Americans and people of color and the prison complex and random arrests and police brutality, that these things are what make our privilege possible. My grandfather's grandfather, whatever that is, he fought in the Civil War for the South. So when I was growing up, like, every year, we didn't have cable, and every year when Gone with the Wind came on, it was like a national holiday, and we would stay up all night. It would like take 2 or 3 nights to air the movie. It was just once a year, and we would watch it with no shame and no consciousness. So that's where I come from. Regardless of what I've done to reverse it or reprogram myself, that is where I come from. As he says, we are, white people, are always trying to exonerate ourselves. It's like we would never admit to being racists. Like, when we picture a racist, we picture an oaf or like a troll or something. We just don't picture ourselves. And it's because Bell Hooks, he mentions her, he studied her in college, and he went to Howard University, and she is more academic and comes from more of a feminist point of view. Also, I didn't finish this book. Did I say that already? But I did start reading it in conjunction, or after I finished this one, which is only 150 pages and is a quick read, but a very painful one, but very important. So I went to this party with my drug dealer. I had a date for the party, but he blew me off. He was such a mean guy. I loved him so much, and he blew me. It was New Year's Eve, and he blew me off on New Year's Eve, which you should never do to a date. And then he blew me off again on New Year's Day. So I was really depressed. So I was in touch with my drug dealer, just as it turns out, and he said he would go to the party with me. So I took him to the party. It was in New York City. My boss had this party. She was a well-known painter, and I was her studio assistant. Terrible studio assistant. But she was sweet, and she hadn't fired me yet. So I got invited to her party, and I took my drug dealer. So about my drug dealer, he was a white guy, if you believe in white, from Washington, D.C., and his father was a very well-known diplomat. This guy, my drug dealer, went to private school, and he moved to New York and kind of reinvented himself as a African-American. Sometimes, I don't know if you've ever known anyone like that, but he had dreadlocks, and he had this affected way of talking, like the way, if you could imagine, a rapper from the 90s would talk. And we talked to Bell Hooks at this party, which is just so interesting. Who knows what she thought. But this guy, my drug dealer, he talked to Bell. I feel like we stood there and talked to Bell Hooks for like an hour. That's how I remember it. I know at one point he said, "I am the man I am," which sounds a little bit like Green Eggs and Ham. And maybe that is what he said. I didn't ever see her again or have a chance to talk to her again. And I never saw the drug dealer again after that night either. Although he did give me crabs. And they lingered for a while. So there's that. I know. I really should have had better boundaries with my drug providers. But it's pretty common to struggle with that. The boundaries with the drug dealer.